The Rasengan, a spinning orb of concentrated chakra. This jutsu was created by Minato Namikaze after seeing a bijuu bomb for the first time. Because his lover Kushina Uzumaki was a Jinchuriki, she would eventually be deployed to fight opponents that could use bijuu bombs against her. So Minato wanted to develop an ability that she could use to match against those opponents, which also works with her chakra volume as a Jinchuriki. Now Minato struggled with the original concept of the ability at first. It was only after a conversation with Jraiya that he thought of a way to make the ability usable, which is also why he wanted to name the ability after Jaraiya, but was later convinced to use the name Rasengan instead. Now, to perform the Rasengan, the user must gather chakra in the palm of their hand, which they then spin in multiple directions to contain the chakra into a spherical shape. So the technique itself requires 3 main steps, the first one being rotation, which means the user must learn to spin their chakra in multiple directions at the same time. The second step is then the addition of power, which means they must also learn to increase the volume and density of the chakra they output. And finally, the user must then learn to combine those first 2 steps into a contained sphere. This results in a powerful jutsu that grinds into whatever it comes in contact with, doing extensive damage until the spinning chakra dissipates. Even Jraiya himself describes it as a more powerful jutsu than the Chidori, an assessment Sasuke agrees with after comparing the two. With that said, that is why the Rasengan's various attributes and power level earned it recognition as the pinnacle of shape transformation.
The one I seek
is me!
The Compression Rasengan. This jutsu was created by overlapping the Rasengan as it is formed in the dominant hand with the other hand. The user then proceeds to compress it and condenses it to its limit. In this state, the ability can penetrate targets with little resistance. Also, if its impact is reduced by a strong defense to the point of making it non-lethal, it can still knock out powerful opponents. Also, its compressed nature can cause severe recoil, greatly straining the user's hand, making it dangerous to use often. The Big Ball Rasengan. In the anime, Naruto created this Rasengan during his training with Jraiya. While trying to break out of Genjutsu, Naruto accidentally released his chakra and created a huge Rasengan. He uses the same concept of compressing spinning chakra in one's palm as in the original, only increasing the amount of chakra involved. And because there is even more chakra being compressed to a higher density, the Rasengan releases its energy immediately on contact, thus increasing its destructive power beyond the Rasengans. Also, it's noted in the anime that one requires immense amounts of chakra to create a Rasengan of that magnitude. And when Naruto first started to use it, he needed a shadow clone to help him wield it and form it. He was then able to wield it with one hand when his skill improved, thus no longer needing a shadow clone to help with its formation.
Especially not my dad, who actually was Hokage! How dare you put him down!
The Planetary Rasengan. In this case, Naruto Uzumaki, while in his Nine-Tails Chakra mode, creates a big ball Rasengan in one of his hands, which is then surrounded by 3 regular-sized Rasengans in a similar manner to moons around the planet. When coming in contact with a target, the disordered rotations of the individual Rasengan created by the central and smaller ones spinning in different directions, they interact with each other to form a massive and turbulent wave-like vortex. The strength of this technique is so great that it took a shinobi reincarnated by the Edo Tensei Jutsu a significant amount of time to regenerate, which they normally do instantly.
This is a violently rotating Rasengan!
The Spiraling Absorption Sphere. This technique allows Naruto to use his chakra limbs while in his Nine-Tails Chakra mode to form a big ball Rasengan in his hand, which he then throws above his back. He then uses extra limbs to grab and smash his enemies into the sphere, simulating an absorption of the victims into the Rasengan.
Rasen Absorption!
The Ultra Big Ball Rasengan. Now, to form this technique, the user creates a Rasengan of gigantic proportions. Once it impacts, there's a large shockwave that sends shinobi flying. As with many Rasengan variants, Naruto needs the help of a shadow clone in the Ultra Big Ball Rasengan's formation. Though by the time he's Hokage, Naruto can perform this technique with one hand and even pass it to Boruto Uzumaki to use. By the way, the ability itself is so chakra intense that it's even capable of overwhelming Delta's chakra absorption capabilities. Now, when in Sage mode, the user can perform a Senjutsu enhanced version known as Sage Art Ultra Big Ball Rasengan. It said that its destructive power, were it to explode, would easily carve away an entire mountain. And fittingly upon its first successful use, it blasted through the god tree and kilometers of mountainside before bursting into the upper atmosphere, killing an empowered Momoshiki Otsutsuki. The Super Compression Rasengan. This ability was created with Mitsuki's addition of Senjutsu chakra and started adding to the force of impact. Boruto's Compression Rasengan's compression and power then increased dramatically. Their combined might makes it possible to overcome near impervious defenses like Deepa's carbon armor.
Absurd. My divine tree fruit. I was so close.
Rasengan Uzumaki. Now this is a unique Rasengan variant developed by Boruto Uzumaki that harnesses the user's own chakra along with what Boruto calls planetary chakra. This is energy pretty much generated by the centrifugal force that works alongside the planet's rotation and orbit, which then infuses the attack with unlimited power. Now to use this technique, the user must maintain contact with the ground itself, ensuring that they can directly take in planetary chakra through both feet. The power and effect of the attack itself on the target then depends upon the amount of planetary energy the user generates, which is then therefore proportional to the amount of time spent accumulating it. Now, as the user absorbs this planetary chakra, it visibly coils around their limbs and torso and can be passed into bodies of others by simply touching them. This can result in mild disorientation for those affected, making it more difficult to effectively move and attack. Now, to complete the technique itself, the user then strikes the enemy with their palm, typically aiming for their chest and stomach, and forcibly infuses the planetary chakra into their bodies. At maximum level, this ability is capable of killing a target with a single blow, erupting in a swirling vortex of chakra that forcibly blows away and tears apart their bodies, effectively disintegrating them. It also deals similar damage to a standard Rasengan if needed, along with the planetary energy rushing through the target's body, continuously inflicting internal damage and leaving the enemy in a perpetual state of vertigo, destroying their sense of balance and diminishing their motor skills. These effects then persist semi-permanently, ending only if the user rescinds Uzumaki or the planet itself stops spinning for some reason. So it not only causes physical harm but immeasurable psychological damage, making it an effective tool for interrogation or coercion. Sage Art Magnet Release Rasengan. This is a technique that's available to Naruto after inheriting the Sage of Six Paths powers. By combining his Rasengan with the One Tail's Magnet Release to reinforce its suction power, he creates a Rasengan with the Beast's Curse Seal markings. He then smashes the sphere into his opponent in a similar manner to a normal Rasengan, and upon being struck with the ability itself, the markings then quickly spread across the target's body and demobilizes them. The Wind Style Rasengan. This technique is an original ability created by Naruto Uzumaki. After learning Minato created the Rasengan with the intention of merging it with his own nature release, a task that proved way too difficult for him to complete prior to his death, Naruto also struggled to combine his Rasengan with his own wind nature, which he describes as needing to look left and right at the same time. He's eventually able to overcome this obstacle by using his shadow clones. This is done by him providing the chakra. One shadow clone shapes the chakra into a sphere, and the second one infuses the sphere with wind. The end product then becomes the Wind Release Rasengan. Now, users who have mastered the Rasengan's shape transformation will only need one shadow clone to inject the wind nature, and of course with more experience it can be performed without any shadow clones. With that said, Naruto's version is identical to a standard Rasengan for the most part, but it is stronger and capable of being thrown. Konohamaru's usage is surrounded by an aura and generates a large current of air, with its strength capable of destroying a hill from a distance. Boruto's is uniquely green for some reason and sports rings around the central sphere, though his is incomplete despite being able to be thrown as well. The Wind Style Rasen Shuriken. Now this jutsu is a shuriken-shaped variant of the Wind Release Rasengan. Like the technique, Naruto typically has the help of two shadow clones in the Rasen Shuriken's formation. He provides the chakra, one clone helps keeps the chakra contained, and the second one adds the wind nature. It is of course the completed version of the Wind Star Rasengan with 4 large points around the central Rasengan core, giving the appearance of a Fuma Shuriken whilst also giving off a loud screeching noise. Now by the time of the Naruto the Last movie, Naruto is able to create the Rasengan Shuriken without aid and is able to remotely guide it. The ability also requires a great deal of chakra to perform. Naruto has been shown creating as many as 3 Rasengan Shurikens on his own before tiring out, and while in Sage mode he can create 2 Rasengan Shurikens per transformation, and after the second one he must re-enter Sage mode to create additional Rasengan Shurikens. Though after improving his Sage mode, Naruto is able to use 3 at a single time, 5 in the anime, and while in his Kurama mode or Ninetales Chakra mode, he can use Rasengan Shuriken an unlimited number of times. The ability is also extremely heavy, as Fukasaku was surprised that Naruto could throw the highly dense chakra even in Sage mode. With that said, after traveling a certain distance or colliding with a target it can't slice through, the central sphere of the Rasengan Shuriken detonates, producing a vortex of wind in the immediate area. Now what's very fascinating about this is that within this vortex, countless microscopic wind blades are created, so many that even the Sharingan can't count them. The wind blades then pierce every cell within the body, disconnecting them from the chakra circulatory system, thus stopping them from providing their physical energy to the chakra creation process. Because of this, the target then loses their ability to create and mold chakra, damage which cannot be healed by medical ninjutsu. By the way, the damage is so crazy that Tsuno likened it to poison, and warned that if the damage is great enough, those affected by it won't be able to use jutsu again.
Wind Style Rasen Shuriken!
Sage Art Super Tail Beast Rasen Shuriken. Now this technique is the ultimate ability created by Naruto Uzumaki using the power given to him by the Sage of 6 Paths. This ability comes to life when Naruto and 8 of his shadow clones each form a Rasen Shuriken that's been imbued with the chakra of a different tail beast. And as seen in the manga, multiple large explosions are created when the Rasengan strike Kaguya. Now, although Kaguya herself wasn't significantly damaged by the attack itself, the Tail Beast chakra contained within the Rasen Shurikens resonated with the Tail Beast chakra within Kaguya, thus preventing her from maintaining her humanoid form.
Sage Art! Ah! Super Tail Beast Rasen Shuriken!
Rasengan Flash. Now this jutsu is created after infusing Kurama's chakra into Naruto's wind release Rasengan. He fires it as a beam which has enough energy to clear an explosion, or he sometimes uses it to propel himself into the sky. The Rasengan Typhoon Water Vortex technique. Now this corporation ninjutsu uses the wild rotation of a thrown wind release Rasengan to swallow up the water current created by the wind release tearing torrent, thus creating a large quantity of water vapor. Now once invoked, a strong wind whirls around inside the highly concentrated mist, turning it into a solid barrier. The mist then created by the violent rotation of the Rasengan also has the effect of taking away the enemy's field of vision. Now if one can use multiple chakra natures, which involves water and wind, it is possible to perform this technique alone.
Style Rasengan!
Water Style Ripping Torrent!
Hurricane Vortex Jutsu!
The Vanishing Rasengan. Now this ability is a lightning release version of the Rasengan that was created by Boruto Uzumaki and named by Sasuke. Now in essence, after creating a small Rasengan, Boruto subconsciously adds lightning release to it before throwing it. As it glides, the nature transformation abruptly kicks in, resulting in the technique disappearing from sight. Now this of course adds an element of surprise to the attack itself, as an opponent may lower their guard assuming that the ability has dispersed, only to find themselves snuck by the invisible attack. By the way, the size of Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan has seen a significant increase after the Mujina Bandits arc, where it was shown to be around the size of a normal Rasengan. So with enough chakra added to it, the Rasengan can indeed become giant. Though one thing to note is that the ability is too weak to cause any mortal wound, but is quite painful when it strikes a vital point, as stated by Momoshiki.
Hey! A vanishing Rasengan!
The Rasengan. Now this ability is created when the user gathers chakra using 2 fingers to condense it into a small Rasengan. It can be shot from a distance at a target and has immense penetration power.
Rasengan.
Windstar Rasen Barricade. This ability created by Konohamaru can counter an enemy's attack by dispersing the Rasengan with wind chakra, thus creating a strong wind barrier. The ability also proved to be powerful enough to block a Chidori and Chidori stream from a 10 tails entity, so it is quite something. With that said, that's it for the video guys. Those are all the Rasengans in the Naruto Boruto universe. Now of course you have other ways in which Rasengan can be used, but that technically isn't a different Rasengan. It's just the same Rasengan being used in different ways, such as like the Rasen Barrage or something like that. So that's why it's not on the list. With that said, this video was done with the assistance of Narutopedia, so if you guys want to check them out, that would be awesome. Also, apologies for the audio. I really tried to record this video while my voice isn't really back as yet, so hopefully it isn't as bad as I think it is, and it does sound okay and you guys enjoyed the video. So yeah, if you guys did, drop a like down below, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.